Today I'm going to talk about freedom. This subject is very important to me. I know I've mentioned it in other episodes because it is that important to me. So I will definitely be using freedom and examples of freedom in many episodes. What do I always talk about? Whatever I want. Why do I do that? Because it makes me happy. It makes me happy to say what I want to say, to be myself. We can't tell people to be themselves and then censor them, number one, right? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who's in charge, whether, take the politics out of it. You're not going to create anything positive. Even if you want to shut someone else up or shut their opinion up or whatever it is, they offend you. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're not going to be happy. As a matter of fact, if you're one of those people that need to censor other people, or just think about the people, maybe you're like me and you're all about freedom in every way, not just freedom of speech, but I'm gonna get into that as well. But because of what's currently happening in this world where it's taken center stage, and it should, because it's something that should never be questioned, ever. As a life strategist, I have helped so many people become happy or happier. And the number one way of doing that is freedom, is not caring what people think. If you have to worry about what people think, you're censoring yourself. So even if you don't say it, so everything's cool, right? Because I don't say it, I'm not thinking it. Are you kidding me? And then meanwhile, if I have to oppress myself, what's gonna happen? There's gonna be a buildup. There's gonna be resentment. Nothing positive happens because of it. You have to say your truth. And what should be happening is that everyone, in fact, this is how I train people to actually accept what offends them, what upsets them, what do they disagree with, and ask themselves, why does this bother me so much? And instead of being reactive, which is totally human nature, but you have a choice to sit there, calm down, think, maybe do some research. In fact, I recommend that you do some research. Back in the day, we'd go to the library. Now you have the internet, right? But you know what I'm saying? Like, seriously, I can't stand when people, it goes in every way. It doesn't mean, it's not just about freedom of speech, about your thoughts, your opinions, whether political, religious, spiritual, cultural. At the end of the day, we are born free. Every single creature in this universe. It is our nature. It is our right to be free. No one wants to be enslaved. Nobody wants to be censored. Nobody wants somebody telling them what to do, especially me, which is why I have spent all my years becoming an expert at communicating and really being able to have many debates about, why should I be censored by you? Why should I speak the way you want me to speak? Well, it works both ways, right? I can say to you, why don't you speak like I speak, or tolerate my speech, or don't tolerate it. Don't talk to me. That's fine. And why can't we be nice about it? I mean, really? I'm going to tell you guys right now, and like I said, either you know somebody like this and you know exactly what I'm talking about and that feeling, but I'm going to say this straight up. And everyone, please share this episode, because I'm going to keep saying it. It needs to be said. I'm not hearing it anywhere, and I'm listening to everything. The only thing I don't listen to, honey, is TV. I definitely shut the television off. It's complete propaganda, always has been. I already know that. I have a background in NBC. Anyway, that's another story for another time. But at the end of the day, it's, oh my God, I lost my thought. How could I? It's something that I talk about almost every day. These people that want to censor you, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Okay, guys? I don't care about politics, left or right. I don't care what country you're from, what's your culture. When you are trying to tell somebody else what to do and you get angry about it on top of it, you're miserable. You got a problem. And I want everybody to know that you, dictators, pointing the finger, virtue signaling, whatever. Like, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. And you're no one to tell me what to do, just like I'm no one to tell you what to do. And if you get mad about it or you keep pushing it, you don't let it go, you're not a good person, honey. You're not a sweet person. Because if you were a good person, you'd be kind about it. You'd be accepting and respectful. You know what I'm saying? Right? Right. And again, if somebody does insult you and you did nothing wrong and you're the victim, that's another subject that I will also get into in a future episode. But nothing in this world is personal. Look it up. Do your research. Nothing in this world is personal. Whatever somebody does to you has nothing to do with you, which is the other reason why I'm saying that if you're trying to censor me or control me, manipulate me in any way, tie me down, I don't care, lock me in, I'm going to react. But, you know, years ago, I would have reacted in a way which I was much more aggressive. But I've learned. I grew up. So again, maybe you need to grow up. I don't care what your age is, right? That's one thing to be considered. Like maybe look at yourself and go, am I handling it? Am I handling this the best way? Is it really making me happier to be right? Is it making me happier to tell somebody what to do? And if they don't do it, it's all good? Or if they do it, I feel better? No, you don't. You feel better for the first second that somebody does what you want them to do or shuts their mouth when you want them to, right? But again, I do that stuff. I play that game. I'll shut up. Guess what I'm telling myself in my head? You could say, you know, for some that believe in God or spirit, hey, God, I understand. I don't know anything. I'm just a humble human and I'm going to be quiet because at least I'm conscious enough and aware enough now that I'm not going to be reactive, that I can listen, but I can also walk away respectfully because I shouldn't have to sit there and no one, and be berated and whatnot. No, say, hey, you know what? Nice talking to you. Up until this moment, I'm really not interested. God bless, or I wish you the best again. Or it doesn't matter. It's just the moment that you hold yourself responsible for your reaction and to not be judgmental. That's the way you hold yourself back, going, you know, I can get angry and be like, who are they to talk to me like this? And no, or I'm right, you're wrong. See, when you get the judgment out of the way. So it just goes to show you that I'm on your side, whether we agree or not, whether you're the one trying to press me, offend me, censor me, we agree, right? Because isn't the point that everybody wants to get what they want because that supposedly is going to make them happy? But it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. What makes you happy is when you walk away, when you control yourself, when you go, you know, you've heard these old sayings like pick your battles, but usually we don't learn how to do it until later on in life, you know? So that's fine. So no matter what age you're in right now, just be aware that if you're losing your shit, it's you, okay? Because you're responsible for your reaction, you're responsible for your emotions, and you can control it. Now, here's where I come in. This is exactly like the whole point of what I do. As a life strategist, that's what I do. There are ways, there are tools, there are techniques to get you to that point. Doesn't happen overnight. But you know what? It's amazing when it does. And when you catch yourself and then all of a sudden you see, wow, my life is better and I'm still free. Are you getting this? So it is possible to not be censored, to stand for yourself, stand for your beliefs, be yourself, because ultimately you are the one responsible for your happiness. So again, guys, if you don't like what I'm saying or you disagree with me, that's your problem. And you should worry about that, not me. You get that? It's that simple. And I love you all. There's no one out there in the whole world that I don't love, that I don't support. And when I can't agree with them or I, you know, even, I know. But honestly, no matter how much a person is a bad person, I have seen and understood why they are the way they are. And I can no longer just be angry and mad. All I can do is be positive and think positive thoughts, so that my reactions and my entire world and my day in and day out is constantly reaffirming that action. Because again, here's one of my favorite quotes, my own quote personally: be the light that you want to see in this world, you know? Be the change you want to see in this world. I mean, if you're acting positive and everybody around you is acting positive, what I mean by positive is conscious, and that your principles are high, that your standards are high. What I mean by high is, you know, am I going to be bitchy or a better person? and take and just peacefully, exit a situation or a conversation, for example, right? I mean, you can choose. But here's the thing. You can't just walk away and go, okay, all right, I'm gonna let this person, okay, well, hey, that's what you think about me? Okay. And say it hurts your feelings and you're like, you know what, that's fine. I'll get over it. But you know what's funny? The more you do it and you start to understand people because you're not being reactive, you start to learn about them, you start to study them. You start to understand, things start clicking in a way they don't click before. And the next thing you know, you don't get your feelings hurt. And again, now that's other conversation because that is directly attached to our ego. The same person that's pointing the finger or wants to censor you, me, or if you are the person that's trying to censor somebody, right? Or cut their freedoms in any way. You got to look at yourself. There's something wrong. If you can't be right and everybody wrong, or only the people that agree with you, they're right. No, we're diverse. I mean, there's not two humans that are identical. How can we possibly be in groups, although we are human and we, are tribalistic and all that? Yes, true. That's our human nature. But we have a conscience for a purpose to go beyond that. And we got plenty of science. So whether you're spiritual, religious or not, we have plenty of science to actually measure this frequency, this vibration, which is the entire universe, which is energy. I call it love. You know what I mean? And just think about it. See, that takes me to a next and another podcast that I will be talking about love. In fact, here you go. This is an example I use all the time. And I would love your comments below. Make sure to comment below. I definitely want to hear them. And I will read them and I will respond. They are my fuel, baby. So, when you treat things like shit, they don't last long or they don't work at all, right? Like the outcome is not positive. And here's an example. And this is what I mean. I'm giving you an example of negative energy versus positive energy. I'm not Miss Positive. I yell, I scream, I get impatient. I'm human. In fact, it's a release. Okay? But I know that if I don't get it together, cut it off, I got a choice. I can yell for 5 minutes. I can yell for 5 days, right? So I got these choices, and so do you, and so does everyone. And if we would need to make each other accountable, it's that. It's, you could have been nicer to that woman down the street, or at the store, that clerk, that kid on the street that annoyed you. You could have been nicer, and you would have set an example for everyone around you, including that child, and the memory that child would have. Again, everything we do, everything we say, and the energy, even when we don't even say anything, because we are made of energy, it's out there. It's affecting people. Yep. Even when you're sitting at home doing nothing. But if they're watching a negative movie, and a very violent movie, for example, versus a very positive one, again, that's the energy. That's your radio frequency that's out there, guys. You know what I'm saying. Again, if you know somebody that's like negative and you notice that that's the kind of thing they're doing, listening too much news, watching negative movies or soap operas or anything like that, and you love them, give them a shout out, let them know like, hey, how about you don't do that for like a week or two? I bet you feel better. Or at least try and let me know, right? It's unity, man. We got to stick together. And the only way that anything grows and flourishes is through unity. And not to be a preacher, but here's one of my examples that I give. I'm big into gardening. I love gardening because I love growing my own food. I love eating a fresh tomato. I love putting fresh basil on my tomato salad. It's just orgasmic for me. It's really food and sex are one and the same. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that in another episode, just totally dedicated to that one. But again, just think about it, right? You have a garden. If you piss on it every day, what do you think is going to happen to that garden? Do you think it's going to flourish? It's going to do well? Right? Right. So what do? You water it. You talk to it. You're nice. You're grateful to it. I mean, say you don't feel comfortable talking to the plants. Although, by the way, guys, it's scientifically proven it works. Again, vibration, because it's a living thing. But that's okay. All right, I got you. Now, whether you're talking to it or not, you're giving it water, sun, all the elements that it needs, and you don't neglect it, you don't skip a day. They flourish, they love you back. You get the fruit of your labor. You've heard that statement. You get it? But if you're pissing on it, ignoring it, neglecting it, not paying attention to it, just like your relationships, guys, because what's the one thing people ask me the most about? Relationships. Whether it's with a boss, a coworker, or a lover. But of course, one of the biggest questions, hands down, I think for anyone in the wellness industry, whether you're a psychic, Reiki healer, therapist, right? Life coach, life strategist, is marriage counselors in general. It's, they want to know, how do I find the right person? How do I fix my relationship? Am I ever going to meet the love of my life? So what's fascinating is that, here's number one, here's the good news. They never taught us in school how to do all those things. And I have another huge explanation on why that ever happened. That's for another episode. But here's the thing. Again, vibrationally, what we seek, this is a Rumi quote, seeks us. So if you're meeting negative people, or you're dating negative people, or you're in a toxic relationship, marriage or non-marriage, okay? Living together or not, what about you? Look at you. You will always find the answer when you really look at yourself and that you're honest with yourself. And I mean, if you got to go straight to the mirror, go straight to the mirror and say, who am I? And then take another step and say, who are you? Identify who you are as far as your ego. Are you driven by your ego? And I know people think, ego, I'm not egotistical. Most people will say that. Most people react that way because the word ego has a negative connotation. Not at all. Not at all, guys. We're multidimensional people, okay? There's more layers to us, right? We got the conscious, we got the subconscious. Face that. Look at that. Do it today. Do it right now. It works. Because even if there's so much more to it than that, absolutely. And there's so many techniques and so many ways of getting through that, getting those answers, fixing that toxic relationship or any, like I said, any dysfunctional toxic relationship. It starts with us. And again, it plugs back into what I said earlier about nothing in life is personal. It's not happening to you. It's happening for you. Many of you, I'm sure, have already heard that. But here's what I'm going to say. That you got to stop being reactive. All of us. Okay? The best thing we can do for each other is stop being reactive and be more intentional. And if you know that every thought that you have and every decision you make, you did put the intention, I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to do this. That's intention. Before you even did it, right? You thought of it, then you set out the intention. You shared it even verbally, which adds to that intention and that energy. Now, what do we do? What do we do? So you got to get out of bed every day and say, how am I going to be? Who am I going to be? How am I going to treat people today? Can I be kinder? Sure. Can I smile more? Sure. Okay, maybe you're miserable. Maybe you're thinking, but you don't know how hard it is to smile. Well, guess what? Again, that's another scientific, tip for you. Just when you smile, even if you're miserable, the brain feels happier. So if you want to get out of misery, that's how you do it. Now, if you don't want to get out of misery because you can do it. You choose to do it. You choose to stay in that energy. You choose to get out of that energy. You know what I mean? People tell me all the time when they hang out with me, when I go to places, they're like, it's so funny how people react to you because here's the thing, when you change fundamentally who you are, when you choose to say, you know what, I'm going to be a better person and I'll do whatever it takes to get there. That's some high standard. When you're ready to get there, because you're ready to really be empowered and happy and successful in every way, when you're committed, when you really turn that leaf, when you switch the script. Thank you for joining me in this episode of the Olga S. Pérez Show. If you like this video, hit the subscribe and make sure to hit the notification bell so we don't miss each other in future episodes.